You ever heard this before? You're too much. You have way too much emotional energy. Nobody can handle it. You're too much. You heard that before? If you have, I'm going to show you, number one, why that is, but number two, what to do about it. Oh, and here's the spoiler alert. You're not too much. You just suck at regulating your emotion. In human design, there are 7 possible emotional channels. If you have either of these two, it means you have what's called collective emotional circuitry, the 35, 36, or the 30-41. And this doesn't mean that if you don't have this, that you're non-emotional. It just means that the people who do have this circuitry in their chart, they are never going to be able to escape this. It's a permanent part of your life. Whereas people with situations like this, hanging gates and dormant gates, it will come and go, depending on the transits, depending on who they're around in their composites. But let's go back to this. Because this is one of those circuitries that if you have this circuitry, but you didn't know that you have this circuitry, you're going to get that a lot. You're too much. Your emotions are like overbearing and I don't know what to do with them. I can never understand you. And this is people trying to understand the emotions from a logical point of view. But let me tell you about these channels and why that's an absolutely dumb thing to do. We're going to start down here with the channel of recognition. This 41 right here is contraction, and this is the thing that like pushes you towards new experiences. Root pressure is going to cause stress, and it's going to cause you to fantasize about new things and new experiences. And 30 up here is the clinging fire. This is the nervousness around what might happen, what might not happen, and it's like desire. This channel right here is going to push you for new experiences, not necessarily for any sake of like gaining information or anything, but just to experience something new. If you have that channel, the healthiest expression of this is for you to give yourself those new experiences, not to expect somebody else to do it for you. One of the reasons why you feel like too much is because you're projecting your emotions onto another person. It's, I need to feel something new. You need to give that to me. Yeah, dude, that's too much. Rather than, I need to feel something new, so I'm going to give that to myself. And if you're in the way, I am going to either find a way around that or change our dynamic so that I can give myself the things that I need. There's absolutely no logic in this, and some of these fantasies will never come to fruition. And guess what? They're not supposed to. We're supposed to have desires that are never met. That's a natural part of being a human. However, society or who the fuck ever has us convinced that, oh, all of our desires need to be met and all our partners and all our friends need to meet those desires. No, they don't. In a lot of ways, this emotional wave is helping us to let go of the expectations and comparisons that we have to all the celebrities that we see on Instagram, which is awesome. There's a blackout going on. I love this because the emotions are not really here to compare us to other people, but oftentimes that's what the mind does, is they use the emotions as some kind of ammunition to hold yourself hostage or hold somebody else hostage, and it sucks. And now for the other collective emotional channel. Here we have crisis, which is the I'm not enough, especially in bed or emotionally. That's going to drive you, yep, you guessed it, towards new experiences that will give you some sense of progress, which this is the ability to tell stories about how, oh, I used to think I wasn't enough, but then I did this and this and this and this, and now I know that I'm enough. Both of these emotional waves, again, are collective circuitry, and they're these big buildups, expectations, desires, all this stuff that builds up and then eventually crashes down into some kind of catharsis. With all emotional waves, there's no truth in the now. You have to weather the emotional wave to discover what truly your desires are and what the mind is wanting. And it's not that we don't want to give the mind what it wants. More as we want to discover what the emotional center actually wants. Again, the only way to do that is to weather the emotional wave. So if you have these two channels, learn how to process your emotions, not from the mind, but actually in the body. I'm talking learn how to swallow the emotions down into your solar plexus and cook and refine them rather than blaming or putting expectations on everybody else. I get that it's hard. I get that you feel lonely sometimes. I get that it's very challenging and super intense. But you will never learn to process your emotions if you're constantly trying to understand them from the mind. If you're constantly talking about them instead of learning how to process it, like eat the meal that's in front of you. Don't ask everybody else around you to eat it for you and then tell you how it tastes and how it needs to be better. There's nothing wrong with your emotions except the way that you are not processing them. These channels have such powerful implications in the collective of the world. When you learn and start to practice proper emotional processing, you are going to stand out like big time and in a good way. Now, if you don't know whether or not these channels are defined for you, go to reikimarco.com, plug in your information, and it's going to give you one of these. Right below that is going to be the option to buy a custom report. It's going to take your body graph and tell you not only about just these emotional channels, whether or not you have them, but also all of the other gates and channels in your chart. Thanks for tuning in with me. Follow for more embodied human design life hacks. If you want to love yourself more, if you want to accept yourself more, if you want to live the life of your dreams, I'm a good person to follow. And let me know in the comments if you have the 3536 or the 3041. Peace.